Hi, my name's Holly Walker. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about, team building. Maybe you can just kind of self-reflect on things with you. And guess what? Not to worry, not condemning anybody out there, because I've been guilty too. I want to talk a little bit about being the criminal or the victim. Now, I think we can kind of get the idea of it, but for those of you who are kind of like, well, I'm not really sure what she's going to talk about, let me kind of give you a summary of what it would be. So, anytime you're out there, let's say you're driving, and you are whipping through traffic, and you are just cutting people off left and right, you become the criminal. Let's say you're just on your way to work, and somebody cuts you off. Well, there you go. You became the victim. We will be both at some point in our life. At some point, we will be the criminal who's out there and we cut somebody off. Maybe we have a bad attitude about what's going on. That makes us the criminal. And sometimes things happen to us and we become the victim. But guess what? We don't have to stay there. So most people know somebody who everything bad happens to them. Maybe this is you, okay? And just self-reflect. This isn't anybody saying that you are, something's wrong with you. This is just, hey, be aware. So maybe you have a friend who every time she calls you, she is going through the worst thing in her life. Oh, everybody is just doing so many things to her. Everyone's out to get her. She just has all these stuff that goes on. You really can't talk about what's going on in your life because she's just got it worse than everybody else. Guess what? The victim mentality is the hardest one. Why? Because they don't see anything else but the troubles they're going through. So it's hard to be a friend with something like that. Have you ever done it? Have you ever forgot to ask, I'm so sorry, I have been talking about everything about me, and how are you doing? What about if you're out there and you're like, well, she said this, and then I did this because she needed to be taught a lesson. So I made sure that she learned this. And guess what? That's the victim mentality. If you're going to punish somebody else because they reacted a certain way and it wasn't appropriate, it wasn't necessary, maybe she chewed you out for being this, that, or the other thing, it doesn't make it right. And guess what? I've probably been a victim of both. But I'm not a victim. And I'm not a criminal. There's times that my actions are either victim or criminal, but I decide. I decide how I view it. Now I want you to think of something. And this is just a perception. I want you to kind of look at it in the other side. When you are in the criminal activity and you're out there cutting people off, what about your victims? Did you ruin their day? Maybe one of them was heading to a family funeral. Maybe one of them had just learned that their loved one died. And they're heading to the hospital to be with their other family and to be supportive. Did you find compassion? Did you just think a little bit, like that hurt your heart a little bit, being the criminal? So when somebody else is being the criminal to you and you become the victim, look at it and say, you know what? They're in a hurry. And just kind of brush it off. Don't waste the energy on that.